Landon was at the airport when I was picked up, but he kind of hung back and viewed me with some suspicion, it seemed. It took a while to get close to him. I snapped two pictures of him on the couch. He's watching a movie or TV. It has to be the first weekend I was there because the kids only get to watch on weekends, not on school nights. I did find out the first night that he likes honeydew, and he's usually missing in action a few minutes into a meal. You just get into a meal and all of a sudden you realize where'd he go, and he's eaten and gone. He doesn't waste time. Landon and Mikkel went to school an hour after Rhett and McKenna did, and while their mother was out transporting the older kids, they were home wreaking havoc. And Landon did a lot of goofing off, terrorized his sister, and just generally ran amok. But like I said before, Aunt Krista didn't know any better or what to let him get away with. Mom would have ridden herd on him. What astonished me when Marcy took the kids to school is that here she was in difficult California traffic, driving a minivan, policing the kids, and she would launch into a spelling lesson with Landon as we went to school. She's amazing. I snapped the next couple of pictures right as the kids came home from church. Now I put these pictures in the other kids' videos, but wanted to spotlight Landon a little bit and show him just all by himself. He's showing the latest loot from the Tooth Fairy, and notice that he has one gap in his front teeth because he's missing one of his very front teeth. One of the things that I had looked forward to doing in California is helping Marcy and Eric with computer things, and I thought I'd primarily help Marcy. But it turns out that Landon is the one I had to fight for the computer. He has some video games he really likes, Star Wars and also a Garfield one. It needs Adobe Shockwave for it, and I was quite astonished at his unusual skill and aptitude for the video game and for the computer in general. Rhett learned really fast when I sat down with him and showed him how to do a lot of things, but Landon shows just an unusual aptitude and an instinct for it. It's really quite amazing to see. Homework was a daily chore, and with Landon I think the emphasis is on the word chore. I didn't really help him with any homework. Marcy worked with him almost entirely, and it seemed like he took the bulk of her time even if the other kids had homework. So I didn't assist him much. One day when Marcy was gone, she had asked me to make certain that Landon did his homework, but she charged McKenna with the responsibility directly. So this is when McKenna set up school for Landon, and he had school after school. And it ended when they had recess that never ended itself, so until Marcy got. Landon was pretty involved with t-ball, and he had a couple of games and a couple of practices while I was there. I missed the first few. His team is called the River Cats, and I took these pictures at the first time I was at one of his practices, and you can see him interacting with the other kids. There's this neat catch picture. I wish it wasn't so grainy. Anyway, he's in his Couchers outfit, and then he got to spend some one-on-one time with his coach and get a little personal help. And the coach was cycling through all the kids, so they all got a turn. So this was the first practice I was able to see. I showed a very early picture of Landon where he had his front tooth out after losing one of them and showing his loot from the Tooth Fairy. Well, not too long after I was there, he lost the other one. And here he is in some wonderful photos displaying a very large gap in the middle of his mouth. It seemed like with school and his t-ball practice and so forth, he wasn't home much, but I caught a few pictures of him. Here he's perched on the back fence. This is just before we were all going out to film McKenna at the swim pool, and he followed us out there and managed to insert himself into all the pictures. The new computer created quite a sensation, and Eric got it up very quickly on Friday, but I was still configuring it when the kids went to bed, and so nobody could use it until Saturday. And I had promised Landon that he would be the first one to use the computer. And Saturday morning he toddled out of his bed and he said, And Krista, do you remember our deal? I said, yes, I do, Landon, and you're going to be number one. You get it first. And he was, and he's quite a computer whiz. I'm confident he's going to be a very savvy user. We only had one incident when I had to drag him right from the computer. He needed to go to T-ball, and Marcy kept telling him to go get ready, and he just wouldn't go. I moved the chair back from the computer, and then he hung onto the desk with his fingers, and I thought I was going to have to pry every single finger off the desk before I could get him ready, but he finally came. And one of the things I was able to do with Landon right as soon as I got there is play chess, and he had a basic chess game, but then his dad also let him use his really nice ceramic one, and that was neat. But it was either a draw or else he beat me. But he's a very good player, and he actually protected me, because if I tried to move somewhere that he knew that it was a stupid move, he would tap the man he would kill me with, and he says, no, you don't want to do that, tapping the little man. He's, okay, and he'd replace my game piece and say, do it over. There were some of the things that I was questioning, and apparently got pretty disgusted with me because he put his hands on his hips, looked at me. His head was bent just slightly, and to my constant questions of why, he said, because that is how the game is played. Like, that ended the discussion, and it certainly did. And then he got exasperated with me, and he says, oh, you don't know how to play the game. Well, he didn't want to play chess with me after that. I don't know if that had something to do with it, or else he just got tired of it. I don't know, maybe he just shifted to the computer. Hard to say. But anyway, he's a good chess player. Be prepared for a savvy opponent. Here's some more pictures I took at Landon's T-ball game, and I was a little surprised at how it was played. Nobody gets out, everybody gets to run, everybody gets to hit until they get a hit, and everybody gets home, and nobody keeps score, and everybody gets cheered. It was really quite refreshing in that. There were a number of good hits in this game, and Landon got a number of them. Now, I'm no expert on form, but boy, his hitting form looks really good to me. There's a picture of him high-fiving his coach as he comes past home. As a catcher, he was able to tag 3 runners, and then he got to celebrate and savor that victory a little bit with Mom. He seemed to end up in the outfield a lot, and not a lot to do out there, but he grinned for the camera a couple of times and spent quality time with his ball buddies when they were on the bench, and it shows everyone giving a game cheer, and then everybody high-fives everybody else as you walk in a circle. It was really a nice event. I forgot to mention that the first game that I watched Landon in, he perfected his tackle and he mowed down a girl. I must confess I was a bit mystified as to what tackling had to do with T-ball, but he managed to insert it in there. And the little girl he mowed down, you can see her with her ponytail there in the team shots. But in the last game, there was a little girl, a different little girl, and she made a wonderful catch, and Landon ran in from the outfield and high-fived her. When we were waiting for Rhett to come out of his play practice so we could go to the party, that's when Landon got in the plants, and Marcy felt like she had to go out and try and rearrange them, and I felt guilty because I took the picture that seemed to egg him on, and then Mikkel got in him. Anyway, this next picture is Landon. He's actually on the treadmill at Karen Marks, and then demonstrating his computer prowess, and then just spending time with his siblings and having a good time. The day before I left was his last ball game, and Eric was able to be there, so he's in the pictures too. It's his day off. And before it, he got a lesson from Marcy, some sort of school lesson, and she was putting on his shoes and making sure he was all suited up in his uniform. He had some more great hits, and I've got pictures of him running on base, and I finally realized what T-ball stands for. Marcy explained to me that it's a T that you hit, and that's where it got its name. I just thought it was easier for the little kids. Alright, I took a picture of him, this last picture actually. You can't even see his eyes or his teeth. If I hadn't known it was him, I wouldn't have been certain it was him. Anyway, it was fun interacting with him, and I missed the little guy.